Hello again, everyone. This is Mr. G. I'm back for another lecture series. This is part one of a two-part series focusing on week five's material, intervals. Part one is going to be extremely simple. We'll just talk about what intervals are in music and how to write them, as well as what they look like both on a piano keyboard, which I have now up here, and what they look like on sheet music. So, intervals. The simplest explanation for what they are is the distance between any two notes. So, for instance, the distance from C to G. That is an example of an interval. Or you can do D to F. Each interval is written a certain way, but first I want to give you an analogy that you can use to help you understand what intervals are a little bit more clearly, as well as how we will label them. Let me pull up this example of a staircase. Now I know it looks a little bit elementary, but I promise that it is quite effective in getting the point across. Think of each note of a scale as like a step on a staircase, with scale degree 1 being step 1, scale degree 2 being step 2, etc., etc. Think of then intervals as the distance between any two of these steps. So for instance, C to D, step 1 to step 2, or C to E, step 1 to step 3. And that also explains how we label intervals. So we actually give intervals a number in music, very similar to scale degrees. The distance from C to D, for instance, that's what we call a second. C to E is a third, because the distance is 3 away. If you count step 1 as the first step, so 1, 2, 3. E is 3 steps away from C, so therefore that distance is a third. Similarly, C to F, F is 4 steps away from C, so we would call that interval a fourth, etc., etc., etc. So now let me dismiss this. So now you see that I have a piano display up here with some numbers written in, and some sheet music to help you see it in both visuals. We'll use C as our first step on our staircase, this C. The distance from C to D, again, is 2. So we call that a second. The distance from C to E, E is 3 steps away from C, and that's why it's a third. C to F is a fourth. C to G is a fifth. C to A is a sixth. C to B is a seventh. And then C up to C is an eighth, or an octave. Now, you may have noticed that there are two different ways I've written these intervals in here. One is melodic, where you play one note after the other, and the other way is harmonic, where you play both notes at the same time. Let me give you an example of a melodic interval first. Say the distance from C to F, we know that's a fourth. If you play the C, then the F, that's melodic. However, if you were to play them at the same time, that is harmonic. So I've shown you the melodic ones by playing the C scale like this. Let me play for you the harmonic intervals now. Oops, sorry. This one is called a perfect unison, but we don't really need to cover that. That's actually very uncommon, so you won't need to worry about seeing this at all. But this one, that is a harmonic second. This is a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whoops, and an eighth. or an octave. And that is the first part, Introduction to Intervals. In the next part, we're going to talk about a different part of an interval called the quality, and how to find the quality using scales. I look forward to seeing you there.